Why not? Let's get frilly with it.
Hello and welcome to the Corner Plot. My name's Helen and at the moment I'm on a bit of a sewing frenzy. So today I'm going to show you how I made a pair of 1907 ladies' drawers from a pattern that I found online for free. Today I will be drafting this pattern from the actual template given for myself. I will show you a little bit about how this became this, and then how that became a garment, which actually is surprisingly comfortable, warm and frilly. So today we are making some frilly ladies' drawers from 1907. These are bifurcated drawers, which means that they are completely open up the crotch. I remember a WI talk that I went to quite some time ago that was done by a lady who does sort of historical reenactment, and she had a couple of extant garments that she showed us at the time, and she did clarify that drawers of the time were crotchless, and that, as she was told by a lady who used to wear them, a proper lady would wear the crotchless bifurcated drawers because, as she put it, men paid to take them down. However, we shall have none of those shenanigans here. Sorry to disappoint you. So this is the pattern. I will link it in the description below should you wish to visit them. This is a wonderful website, tudorlinks.com. They have great wealth of patterns, one of which I used for my skirt, and these drawers. There are other drawers I want to make as well.
The historical instructions say, draft this pattern with a scale that corresponds with waist measure. Pattern is drafted in one piece, this being 1/2 of the garment. Fold the hem in the back as indicated in draft. Also fold hem in front up to point indicated for hem. Join the leg portions of the width of seams indicated in draft and join the garment at front down to the beginning of hem. Gather the top of drawers and sew to band to fit waist. Hem at bottom and trim in any desired way. And that is the pattern. So essentially you've just got 1/2, so one leg. So you've got one leg, make another one, put them together. The bottom of the drawing indicates a flounce. However, the pattern does not show a flounce. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is a serving suggestion and not actually what they would have done necessarily. So I think I shall put a flounce. Why not? Let's get frilly with it.
Okay, so these patterns, or at least the three that I've seen, seem to go with the same method of drafting, in that they will give you a line and then you use that as a reference for your measurements. So in this case you have point A at the top, so there's usually a corner, and then you measure down to each of these measurements. So if you want to find this point here, it is 20 inches down from point A. And then to find this point there, 20 inches down, 31.5 inches across. Which is a very long pair of drawers, but there we go. So they're actually quite easy, in theory, to follow. I'm not convinced that I want drawers that are 31.5 inches long, because I don't have very long legs. That's quite a long pair of pants. Knickers. Undercrackers.
But most of the other measurements sort of make sense, and the waist measurement, because it is gathered, the waist measurement actually isn't that bad. I'm going to draft it as per the pattern, and then I can make a mock-up, which, if it works, will turn out to be the real thing, and if it doesn't work, will turn out to be a mock-up. So I'm going to use just the edge of this bit of paper as the reference. Why is this thing? Ooh. So the paper's actually 45 inches long, wide, so I'm going to turn it that way and use this edge as the reference. This is point A, and start drafting out where various things need to go.
A metre rule would be quite useful when doing this. And a French curve, although I managed to do quite well by eye. It's essentially a game of join the dots, only you've got to put the dots down yourself. I would actually recommend this pattern for a beginner, because A, it's not a form-fitting garment, and B, it's quite a simple one to follow.
I think now we have one side of the drawers drafted. So, always write on your pattern what they are, because in 6 months' time, when you come across them and you want to make them again, don't necessarily know what it is. Oh, I haven't put the hem on. Right, so, and I haven't put, so this pattern actually has seam allowance. I don't know whether it has the hem at the top, but we shall find out. It has seam allowance, so I shall add that. Where's my seam doohickey? Wonderful. So, it's a 1/2 inch seam. So we have a seam around here, and we have a seam around here, so those clearly go together. So in a moment I'll fold the, I'll cut it out, fold it and see whether those actually match up. Though I could probably do that. Let's see if they actually match up. So, it's much easier to do this with a piece of string, where you put it along the line and then you stretch the string out and measure it against a tape measure. Far more accurate, however, I just want to get an idea. See, a lady who wore drawers on a daily basis would know how they were put together. So there's no real requirement to be too precise and too in your pattern. I'm actually quite confused. And I don't trust that I have drafted the pattern how it needs to be. Even though this looks quite similar to this, I don't trust my pattern drafting skills. This may become Frankenstein's monster in underwear form. Let's keep going. Let us soldier on.
I'm using a seam gauge, which is an excellent tool. I bought it on Amazon. Cut out, laid on, marked out, and all the seam.
So the instructions say to fold back the hem at the back and the hem at the front. So you do the hemming first and then join the legs together. So that's what I'll do. Join the leg portions the width of seams indicated in draft and join the garment at front down to the beginning of hem. So let's join the leg portions. So this is 1/2. Okay, so I'm a bit confused by this instruction. So join the leg portions of the width of seams indicated in draft
Fine, I've done that. I've sewn along the curved bit, and now I've got 2 separate legs. And then it says, and join the garment at front down to the beginning of hem. Well, that's referring to this weird bit here. So the only way I can sew that to another one of that is by sewing the 2 legs together. So the 2 legs are basically sewn together at the top of the band. Are they? So that's the bottom and that's the top. I don't know if you can see this right. That's the bottom and that's the top. And this is the funny little hem. But that's the bottom. I don't understand what's going on with these leg seams then. You know what? I'm going to sew these 2 together and just see what it looks like. And then this gets sewn, gathered and sewn to a band. The only way then that can be done is if this funny little seam here is sewn to this funny little seam here, and then that means that, oh, of course, okay. So I was thinking that these bits sewn together were the crotch seams, but of course they aren't. That closes the bottom of the leg, so it's that way up. Those close the bottom of the legs, so there is actually no crotch seam at all. If that's the case, I'm not entirely sure why these are curved, but they are. It's just going to give a really nappy effect around the actual width of it. Anyway, okay, so I will sew those 2 together. That will hold the whole thing together, and then I'll put a band along the top, which I might just fold it over and just put a tape through it or a piece of string through it and just see then what it looks like. Put them on and see what they look like. It's all a very strange garment. So that's what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to get these bits here, pin them together and sew them, and then you've got, this is the entirety of the waistband up to the seams at the back, hem things at the back. Gosh, it's a bizarre piece of clothing. And then at some point I'm going to have to finish these hems. I think if I was to do this again, then I'd probably do French seams with these, just for ease. However, that's not really an option now, so I'm just going to get on with it. This looks so strange. These are quite interesting. They open from here all the way up to the waistband at the back. Let me just check I'm not going to flash you. So you can see that they open all the way around, and they're quite baggy. They're drafty. I do have pants on underneath. They're quite long, but then that's fine because they're going to go under a full-length skirt. So I'm going to try and get them on. I haven't gathered it, I've just put it on the waistband and then just tied it up. So that is an option. Ooh. Well, that's already a bit warmer, and that's not too bad. But yes, so there they are underneath. We'll see how comfortable they are, and then I'll finish them off in a bit. So I've completed my knickerbockers now. I've put some lovely frilly bits on the end. My gathering game is sorely lacking. This very wide hem here actually kind of helps reinforce the overlap so that it doesn't gape, which is quite nice. And it does cover up. I think that's one of the reasons why this seam here is curved, so that then you have that overlap across the important bits where you want an overlap. All in all, I'm quite happy with these. As a first pair, they're not bad. Trimmed them with a little bit of lace that I just had, and they've gone through one wash now and they look okay. The lace is perhaps a little bit darker, but I don't really mind about that. Frilly knickers!